Well, I'm not a psychologist. That's where we're working with the Police Research Institute to figure out how we can test for bias or put something in there. Because none of us, we're cops, we're not experts in psychology, but we're working with a group to see what we can do to test for, do we have to do a practical thing of how do we identify that? So the person's learning all this stuff, we're teaching them fine. And they pass the cycle so they're not crazy or anything like that. But what can we do to see if this person has a bias against another? So that's what we're trying to figure out how to make that happen. We're not there yet. Someone else have a question?
What she asked.
Oh, it's the same question she asked, okay. Yes, please.
Is, talk about Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
Is it as bad as the media?
Well, all the stuff in Portland stopped. But here's the thing. Those people are not from Oregon. When I talk to the police officers that were arresting people, the people that are arrested are not from Oregon. And when you talk to the detectives who are interviewing the people who are arrested, they're saying the hotels that they're staying in are all paid with the same account. But that don't make the TV, does it? Now, I knew they weren't from Oregon even without talking to my colleagues. Why? Down in that area where the violence was, and part of it was called the Park Blocks. That's where Portland State University is. There's a massive life-size bronze elk. Everybody loves the elk. I don't care if you're not from Oregon, everybody loved the elk. During all the rioting, these people were spray painting the elk. They tried to cut its head off. I'm like, those people ain't from Oregon. See? So no one from Oregon. Why would we destroy our own city? Why would we do that? Why? It makes no sense. Unless you're being paid. I'm just saying. I don't know who. I'm not going to name that. But, 2 and 2 is 4. So, but all that stuff is stopped. But downtown is just, it's not Portland anymore. We're trying to start a Catholic all-boys high school in Portland that's straight up in your face Catholic. And so I was meeting with an attorney downtown. I've been downtown about a year. And first of all, you can find a place to park because ain't nobody down there. All the businesses, for lease, for sale, boarded up. Businesses that had been frequented were closed. And I'm like, what's that? Homeless all over the place. It looks like literally downtown looks like a big homeless camp. And I'm like, wow, what's going on in Portland here? Like, what? This isn't. I even called my wife. I said, hon, have you been down here? What's going on? It's not the same place anymore. Yeah, it is sad. Because it's a beautiful place. Aesthetically, gorgeous. Pacific Northwest, the mountains and the lakes and the trees. It's a really beautiful place. Yes?
You get many opportunities to speak in schools, like public schools?
Oh, I speak in public schools, Catholic schools, universities, all over the world, except in Portland. They don't want to hear what I have to say there. Let me tell you, okay. So all the schools, are you recording? Oh, dang. I don't want to get in trouble. So,
Pause.
let's just say they know who I am, they're well aware who I am, and because they know who I am, that's why I don't go. Let me just put it like that. Well, I go where I want it. Yeah, but I do. I speak in schools, Australia. You know what's funny in Australia? I go to this all-girls school. In fact, you see it on my Facebook page. Now, I've never been to school before. These people don't know who I am, but they were advertising the speaker. So what do the young kids do now? They Google you. And they hit, who's this Deacon Harold? Deacon Harold, then they hit video. And I have 990 YouTube videos. So they start looking, they start playing it, and they start sharing it. So when I get to the school, I walk out on the stage, there's like 700 girls. I'm like, is Justin Bieber here? I'm like, and they're yelling for me. I'm like, that's the guy from YouTube. head off, and I'm just sitting there in shock, like, where are they young from? You know? So you get that kind of reception. Or the Philippines. Oh my goodness, they had this massive. I kept it. I asked them to keep it. I had to get a separate suitcase just to put the banner in. Massive. Welcome, Deacon Harold, to the Philippines. And I went to school. They had the school band playing. They had the kids lined up on either side as I'm walking through. I felt like Hollywood on the walk, and I'm signing autographs. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? The largest crowd I ever spoke of, 27,000 people at the Mall of Asia Arena in the Philippines. So you get receptions like that, but what does Jesus say? Prophet not welcome in his own home. Well, I live there. I'm knocking, ain't nobody answering. That's the problem.
How about New Jersey? You welcome there?
Yeah, I speak in Jersey. Yeah, last time I was there, I spoke to Legatus. A couple of Legatus chapters in New Jersey. Not that often. The most places I go in the U.S. is the Texas, Midwest, and the South. I come to this area, the Midwest a lot, Texas, Florida, Carolinas, Ohio, Pennsylvania. I mean, that whole area, that's where I go the most. Yeah. In the U.S. Yes, sir.
With your busy schedule, how do you keep your prayer life focused?
Oh, that's a good question. Look, it's very easy. So I get up every morning, like literally, every morning, first words out of my mouth before my feet hit the ground. Lord, thank you for allowing me to see the light of another day, so that I can give honor, praise, and glory to your most holy name. That's how I start every morning. Because I want my first thought to be focused on God. Right? Now when I'm home, I grab my wife. Lord, I thank you for the gift of my wife. I thank you for our 27 years, our beautiful children. Help me to be the husband and the father that I need to be for them today. Then my wife says something back to me, I get out of bed. I go to the bathroom, then I walk into my office at home, and I pray matins and lauds, or office, because I was a monk, so I'm trying to, I always use the monastic names. It's office of readings and morning prayer. So I pray both of those right away. Then I start working. I'm a workaholic. What can I say? I have a very strong work ethic. Quote from my mom. I saw how hard my mom worked to give us a life that she never had. You know, so I think I got my work ethic from her. So I start working. I'm more productive in the morning than I am in the afternoon. So any serious work I have to get done, I do that first in the morning. Then noon, pray my rosary. Sometimes I only have one car. So if my wife's a psychologist, so if she has the car for a practice, then I can't go to mass. So, you know what I'm saying? So we have to, we can't afford another car, which is fine. So I'm home, and I try to do things at home, and, we used to have a dog, but the dog died during COVID, and so, and then I keep working in the afternoon. I use the afternoon, if I have the car, then I run errands. Go to the bank, go to the post office, dry cleaner, my wife wants me to go to the store to pick up something, stuff like that. 3 o'clock, chaplet. Then about 5, again, anywhere between 5 and 6:30, depending on what I'm doing, where I'm going on. I pray Vespers. Then, family time, all stuff. And then at the end, Compline, before I go to bed. Every day. Except when I'm traveling, sometimes, because I'm 2 hours behind, so sometimes I have to adjust the time, but I do those things every day. In some places in adoration, like I was in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan last week for a mission, and they have an adoration. I was in adoration twice a day. Every day I was there. And I would pray my office or my rosary or something during that time. And I'm not as productive when I travel. So I did bring work as Father saw. I'm working on the last piece of the racism book. There's a few things I need to tie up. So I brought the research and stuff to just tie those things up. I had a radio interview. Like this morning, I got up at 2:30 a.m. because I had a radio interview with in Sydney for Sydney, Australia. So it was from 3 to 4 a.m. our time. So stuff like that. I'm doing interviews all the time. So sometimes my day gets disrupted. If I'm doing like News Nightly for EWTN, you know, I have to stop what I'm doing and do that. Or if I have a deadline in an article that I'm writing or something to be published, I have to finish. You know, so it depends. But my prayer life never suffers. That is first. Because look, if I'm not right with God, I can't do anything else. So I have to. And plus I love praying the office. I love the Psalms. I'm thinking, I don't know how people would receive it, but I'm thinking about doing a talk on the Psalms. But some people, like, if they don't pray the Psalms every day, it's like, yeah, so what? But the Psalms are amazing. Amazing. The Sefer Tedachim in Hebrew, the book of sung praises. Beautiful. So that's basically my prayer life. In a nutshell.
Does your wife ever accompany you on your
Yeah, so she used to come with me. Like she likes to go to warm places in the winter. So if I'm going to Orlando in January, yes, I'm coming with you. like next month, I'm doing a marriage cruise. This cruise was supposed to happen in January last year, but we all know what happened then. So it's going to be me, Archbishop Chaput, Scott Hahn, Father Mike Smits, Father Ricardo, Al Cresta, Teresa Tomeo, Dr. Ray Garendi, and we're all giving talks and stuff on the boat. So my wife's like, yeah, I'm coming. So she basically tells me when she wants to go. She knows she has full access to my schedule. In fact, she has control of my schedule. If she doesn't want me to go, she goes, Deacon blackout. So when my management team sees that, don't touch that. That's his wife put that up there. Don't mess with that. They know better. Right? Because you know, I'm black, and she's Irish and German, but sometimes you know, we get some good arguments sometimes, you know. Yes, please.
What you were saying about building the spirit of brotherhood within the church, how do you see it going, like, outside just the Catholic Church, like maybe people of other faiths?
I think we should be spreading our faith as Catholics like the coronavirus. You know, we should, no, don't get me wrong, I'm going to make a parallel here, don't jump into boots, okay? No, we're all masking this thing, which we have to do to keep ourselves safe from the coronavirus. But our faith, we should be spreading it and infecting people everywhere. That's the difference. So I think if we start this initiative as Catholics, it'll start to spread to everyone. But it has to start with us. We're the epicenter. You know, our earthquake, there's an epicenter and it spreads out to the rest. It starts with us and it spreads out to the rest. I see that as the same way. But it has to start with us. We have to want to have it happen. Just like with Ed. Ed was clueless. And then after a year with me, and then after 4 years, and we have this friendship that's going on 35, 38 years now. And he would never even imagine even being around black people. Now, one of his closest and best friends. You see what I'm saying? We can make this happen. We got this. We just have to want it. We have to make it a conscious part of our effort for evangelization. Everybody's about evangelization, all these programs. Sometimes we program people to death. Look, let's actually do something here. And I think we can be the ones to take the lead on this. Yes, please.
Yes, I'm a Holocaust educator, and so me and my wife had the privilege of knowing 2 Auschwitz survivors and such, and when you're talking, I'm thinking of what I teach people. It's like hatred comes in 10,000 different forms. And in particular in the modern times, monetary value is the key thing, and then our government tends to, make heroes and villains. So what is a hero? If I die under a car and save a kitten, that makes me a hero. No, that's not a hero. A hero was my father, who was the best Catholic I've ever known. He didn't get drunk, he didn't cheat on my mom. That's a hero. On the other hand, other people, Hispanics, African Americans, become villains. but also disabled people become villains. Elderly people, ageism, we don't want to hire them, they got gray hair, they become villains. So us versus them is part of what we need to fight to understand. In fact, there's a book, it's called How Fascism Works, the politics of us versus them. And that's what we have in America, is these important people, the garbage people, the throwaways. In Nazi Germany, they call it Judenrats, Jewish rats. Nobody's a rat. We're loved in the image of Jesus Christ. And by the way, I did help an African American woman today who didn't know how to use a computer. I showed her how.
Yeah, see, so what you're saying there is important. And the thing is, you're right. What I'm putting in my book, which I did talk about tonight deliberately, because I think it would have totally skewed the focus of what I was trying to say tonight. But I'm looking at critical race theory, liberation theology, and the Black Lives Matter movement.
Right.
And the hermeneutic that ties all those three together is, in order to affect institutional change, is the foundation is struggle, conflict, tension. I've read the books of the people that developed all of this.
Right.
And that's the common thread, is, in order to make change, there has to be struggle and conflict and tension and all this. And that's not a response for us as people of faith. That's not how we make things better, by creating tension. And what you do when you do that, you're actually making things worse because you're creating greater division.
Right.
See, so my book is going to be a counter to that. No, if the culture wants it, but that's not a Catholic response to racism. And that's what I'm focused on, what we can do as people of faith to respond to what's going on in our culture when it comes to issues of race.
Right. Mahatma Gandhi, of course, the Hindu response was peaceful protest.
And Martin Luther King's was as well.
Martin Luther King.
I have this letter from Birmingham jail. I have part of that letter in the book because he outlines a strategy for how, and it talks about, and it's so counter to what other organizations today are saying that we need to do. It's very much contradicting what Gandhi did, what Martin Luther King did, what Nelson Mandela did, and many others. So my foundation is Jesus Christ and the teachings of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That is the foundation on which I'm building a plan to overcome the sin and close the racial divide. All right, so tomorrow night's talk is the last exhibition. We're going to talk about atheism. So we're going to get a little bit deep into what atheism is and some of the tenets that they espouse. And I'm going to make it as easy as possible when I talk about the science stuff.